So today is the daily calendar. The daily calendar. Gien Roshi is you may be you may be you may be able to deceive others, but you cannot deceive yourself. Garrison. And this is things just saying saying of Gien Roshi is yours. You may be able to deceive others, but you cannot deceive yourself. See? Because you are always in a life. Because very good. No one doubted. No one doubted. Okay. So everybody will be deceived by yourself. But today you are out. Today you are outside of level. So no one knows where you are, but only one person knows much about where you are is Garrison. This makes sense. I don't think so. Okay, so what Gien Roshi just wanna teach us is you may be able to deceive others. See? This is the thinking. See? So as far as thinking, that is not a reality. So see, you may be deceived others, see, by thinking, see, way of thinking. See? Or I try to do these things, but I could not do it. See? You may say so. People say, oh, so you try to do it, but you could not do it. What the thing is, you know much about how much you try to do it in your mind. You know much about everything. You know much about everything what you have done. Well, you may say the other one more person, already watch yourself, educate yourself. This person, you may not be able to deceive at all. Then the more you do, zazen, what zazen is, whatever just thinking or thought come out in your mind, just let it go. The more you do this zazen, the more this person drop to it. Eventually, see, you simply just become as one with your face right now. Then this person completely drops to it, and then you become yourself. You become yourself. This is the Shakyamuni Buddha's realization. Otherwise, you never free. You never be free. You never be able to be free from everything. As long as this person exists. As long as this person exists. That's the reason Shakyamuni Buddha's realization is so great. See? Unfortunately, we are always, you see, two persons. See? We are always two persons. One more person always just living with us. See? Then once is if you just completely just if you are just thinking also to completely cease or disappear, then this person just drop going. This is the Shakyamuni Buddha's realization. Then you'll be able to just be free from everything. This is Zazen. Always a kind of person who just take a look at or just watch what you are doing, what you have done. As long as this person exists, you never be free. you never be able to satisfy anything. Once this person is completely dropped away, then you are completely free from everything. This is Zazen. This is Shakyamuni Buddha's realization. Once you just become as yourself, once you become as you are, then you are completely free from everything. This is Shakyamuni Buddha's realization. Gary-san, looks like you are completely completely free from everything. But maybe okay. I understood what you wanna say. Okay, but never forget about just sit. Yeah. Never forget slight more. Then you become the as you are. As you are. Okay. This is a very important thing. You may be able to deceive others. You can just deceive others, but you never be able to deceive yourself, because this person created. This person is created by thinking. This person is created by thinking. So the thinking or thought completely dropped away. This person also dropped away as well. That's reason we have to do as others. See? But the people don't know much about this reality. Once this person completely dropped it, what kind of situation, what kind of condition, what kind of circumstances would be happening in our mind. See, this is very important. This is the most important thing or valuable things for us to do. This is the most valuable things for us to do. Once this person completely dropped away, then what's going to happen? What's going to happen? That is Shakyamuni Buddha's realization. You'll be able to encounter the essential self. Once this person completely dropped away, you'll be able to encounter the essentials. Totally different. What we think of the self. The essential self is totally different from what we think of the self. Think of the self. That's the reason we have to do it. That's it. Okay, so we go back to today's the text number 32, good and bad. good and bad. Gary-san, may I ask one more thing? May I ask one more thing? Are you a good or bad? Well, I know much about I know much about you.
I don't know. I don't know also.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
You are
know.
totally bad.
I think my wife. Ask my wife.
Okay, very great. So this is very good good topic. So the good theme. See, people always people always wondering, see, whether this is good or bad. See, uh, uh, because see, why this kind of the idea or kind of thinking just come out in our mind is see, once we just recognize this one as a self or as an I. That is a total reason. See, once we just recognize this one is an I or the self, then this kind of thinking or the concept or the thinking idea come out in our mind. You hear, unless you recognize this one as an I or the self, good, the good and the bad kind of the thinking was idea never come out in our mind. See? Very simple. Because we just recognize this one as an I or the self. That's a totally reason. Once you just once what you think about the self or I completely dropped me. Good and bad never come out. Good and bad never come out in our mind. See? Very simple. But although it's a very simple, but people never understand this reality. That's the reason we have to do zazen. So what the Gien Roshi teach us with take it number 32, good and bad. People are quick to think of things as good or bad. Yeah. Except Garrison. You never think about good or bad because you don't need to think about the good or bad because you're always bad. Listen. Okay. All right. People are quick. People are quick to think of things as good or bad. See, as I just mentioned, once you just recognize this one, these things as a self or I, that's a total reason for the why the thinking over good or bad has come out in our mind. People are quick to think of things as good or bad. The reason why people think of good and bad is that they have some kind of standard specification or either idealized image in mind. Specification, wide idealized image. Those are thinking. See, as I just mentioned, because you think of this one as an I, then this kind of this thinking just come out in your mind. Unless you recognize this one as I or the self, those are good or bad. Those are good, and those ideas of good or bad never come out in your mind. See? This is a very important thing. Although although people are attached, although people are attached to thinking, that's the reason. That's the reason people care much about the good or the bad. Well, that is thinking. That is not a reality. When I face death, I simply become as it is. That's the reason. See, the idea of the good or bad never come out. Then you recognize this one. Then you know much about what it is. Then at the same time, you just recognize this one as I or the self. See? Then kind of a good or bad just come out in your mind. See, the thing is the good or bad just come out in your mind. It's later, before you just face this. See, the kind of idea of a good or bad never come out in your mind. See, this is very important. So whenever I face this, I simply become as it is. The end. The end. Nothing left. Then you just recognize what it is. Then kind of separation just coming up in your mind. At the same time, the idea of a good or bad just come out in your mind. That's it. See? Before recognition, see, the idea of a good or bad never come out in our mind. See? This is a very important thing. After recognition, after recognition, kind of idea just come out in our mind. Then, as Gien Roshi just teaches, you see, the reason why people think of good and bad is that they have some kind of standard specification or idealized image in mind. Once you just you may say, once you just this one is good or bad. Those kind of things just in a sense, in a way you just remained some kind of in your mind. But we don't know much about where that kind of the thinking or idea just exists. But when I just touch or when I face the things, see, that kind of just come out. The kind of the standard specification or idealized image just come out. See? We don't know much about why. We don't know much about why. We never be able to just figure out why that kind of the idea or thinking or good or bad just come out in your mind. The reality is simply when I face this, I simply just become as it is. That's it. And see, then I recognize this one as it is. Then kind of separation just come out in your mind, and then you may say, "Oh, this is good. oh, this is bad. That kind of a thinking just come out in our minds. It's latent. It's latent. Not we are, the people are completely deceived by thinking. Reality is her end, nothing less at all. But people just recognize. People recognize what it is. Then kind of an idea, good or bad, just come out in our mind. This is not a reality. This is not a reality. That's a thinking. That's a thinking. But the people think of this. That's idea of thinking is the reality. That's the reason people have to have a question trouble problems. People are completely deceived by thinking. Right. That is not reality. Okay. So, where is it? In my base home, okay. Once and again. The reason why people think of good and bad is that they have some kind of a standard specification or idealized image in mind based on what they have seen, heard, or been taught in their lives up to now. But the reality is when you face this, when I face this, then I simply become, when I face this, I simply become agitated and nothing left. Nothing. This is reality. Then only human beings, not other, not another animals or plant. The only human being has a kind of the function of recognition. Then people just recognize this. At the same time, people recognize this as I was. Only human beings have this kind of function. Then people just recognize as it is, and people then this one as I was. And there is a certain separation, and there is at the same time kind of idea of a concept of good or bad just come out in your mind. But this is not reality. The reality is when I face this, I simply become agitated and nothing less at all. But people never understand this. Very clear. You see, when I face this, I simply will become agitated and without doing anything. When in another word, without self, everything just come out. They come out and disappear. This is the reality. The things he's just thinking about, good or bad, is come out. It is just come out later. That is not a reality. That's the reason. See, Shakyamuni Buddha or the Patriarch just recommend us to do zazen. Only zazen you'll be able to figure out this reality. Or you may say misconception. When I just, as I just mentioned, always as I just mentioned, what's a dozen mean? What's a dozen? Whatever thinking or thought come out in our mind. See, without any reason. So you don't need to take care of it at all. Simply let it go as it is. This doesn't See, Shakyamuni Buddha was the patriarchs recommend us to do. The more you just listen, the more you become as it is. Eventually, you see, there is no separation. There is no separation between this and that. See? In this moment, you never know, you never be able to aware of anything. See? Completely become one. Completely become one. Then something happens. Then you recognize this sound. Then you'll be able to realize, this is the thing. See? We are completely divided by two, by thinking. See? Before recognition, before recognize the this, before recognize this, see? This one and this and become one. You don't know much about anything. You don't know much about anything. People don't know much about this reality. That's the reason people are always just deceived by thinking. Oneness. When I face this, I simply become as it is. See? The end. Oneness. See, as I always just mentioned, you don't need to know much about anything. See? You don't know much about anything. See? You don't need to know much about anything because of oneness. See? Because of oneness. See? People never understand this, this reality. Now, as far as oneness, you don't need to know much about anything. See? Why? The reason why you have to know much about what it is there is a certain separation between this and this. That's the reason you have to know much about what it is. See? Because there is a certain separation between this and this. As long as once you just become things as it is, you don't need to know much about anything. This is the way. This is the way we are just acting right now. See? Very simple, very easy, and just like a goddess. Always, he just come to a library. He comes to the library and stand, sitting, and sleeping, and eat something as a lunch, and then goes back his house and sleep. His way of life, is very simple. See? Because of without self. Very nice. See, that's the way we are just acting. Not only goddess, but everybody that's acting this without self. Without self, we just acting. We just acting. See? This is very great, great aspect. Well, the great circumstance or condition. But unfortunately, people don't know much about it. But people are always doing is always try to do. See? We don't need to do it. See? Look at the goddess. People just although the librarian say You don't know, you don't need to come here, but you just simply come and sit and eat, sleep, goes back his house. Very, very simple. Yeah. This is our daily activity. What we are doing as a daily activity without self. Without self, we are just simply just acting, doing without any trouble. Yeah. This is a essential self. But people don't know much about this reality, so that people always just confused what do we have to do. See? We don't need to be confused anything. See? Because our activity is not a human activity. As a Master Dogen just teaches, our activity is complete and universal. Not a human activity, universal activity. That's the reason we never have any trouble at all. Okay. When you have such a position, you make that position the standard specification, and this causes you to have thought about whether it is good or bad. See? Gien Roshi just teach us something like this. But you may just you may say simply because we just recognize this as an I or self. This is a whole total problem. This is a total problem. Yeah? Unless you just recognize this one as a I or the self, this kind of idea never come out in our mind. Yeah? Because we don't know much about anything. Yeah? Our daily activity without knowing anything, we can do. Yeah? Very, very simple. Although we are just acting this way. Yeah? We don't know much about who is doing, what we are doing, where we are, where we are. We are just acting this way. Yeah? Then we can just simply just acting. We can simply acting right now. But then you just recognize the things you have, what you are doing, what you have done. See? Then you just recognize the others and the self. See? Then that kind of idea, good or bad, that kind of idea come out, and you just try to judge. Oh, what you have done, what you are doing is good or bad. This is a totally misunderstanding. Our activity is nothing concerned with what I just mentioned. Our activity is very simple because of universe, very simple. Just as it is, and just as it is, and nothing related. Nothing related to this one and this one, and this one and this one. Nothing related, no relationship between this and this. Each activity is completely divided itself. Nothing more or less. That's the reason. That's the reason. We don't have any trouble. As it is, as it is, as it is. Yeah? As long as you just as long as you just try to think of the activity, see, with kinds of relationship or relation, the things are what the because I have done this, then things just come out like this as a result. This is completely misunderstanding. See? But yeah, as I as I just as I did these things, the end, then kind of results come out is total misunderstanding. The things is everything is just completely divided as it is. Nothing relate, nothing in relation between this activity and that activity. That's the reason we don't have any trouble. Very simple, very simple. But as because we just attach the thinking and thought. See, always see, we have to just think of the cause and the effect, cause and the result. This is a creation of thinking. That is another reality. Reality is the things just come out and end. The things just come out and very simple. People completely deceived by thinking. That's the reason we have to do a zazen. Okay. You make that position the standard specification, and this causes you to have the thought about whether it is good or bad. It gets in the way. So always it causes us trouble. It's all causes us trouble. But our real activity is nothing concerned with good or bad. Nothing concerned with thinking. Very fortunate. Our activity is nothing concerned with thinking. Our activity is nothing concerned with human viewpoint. Our activity is universal, very great. So we don't need to care much about thinking. If you don't care much about thinking, you never be bothered by good or bad. Very, very great. Therefore, if you stop having the focus, the thought of good and bad will naturally go away. This is the main point. If you are completely be satisfied with everything, if you feel great ease, you have to do this. Doesn't. Therefore, if you stop having the focus, the thought of good and bad will naturally go away. This is the main point. This is the main point of Zazen. See? Whatever thinking thought come out in your mind. See? You simply let it go as it is. The more you do, the more you do this, Zazen, the more you just separate from the idea or concept of good or bad. Then eventually you are completely be free from everything. Completely free from everything. Okay, this is a way the Shakyamuni Buddha or the patriarchs just recommend us to do that. Okay, very great. It is to live, it is to live boldly and justly as a condition. Although it's a very, although it's a very difficult, okay? Because of people attach thinking and so, attach thinking and so that people just always try to do everything by thinking. But as long as you attach or care much with thinking, you never will be able to just encounter the essential self. That's the reason. You are completely free from everything. You have to do this, doesn't. It is to live boldly and justly as condition. This way of living is so so difficult to do. But you never get, you never you never need to give up because we are just living this way. We are we are just living this way. Yeah, all the people don't know much about who they are. So when the patriarchs say, when patriarchs say it is to live boldly and justly as condition of home, it's a totally difficult to do it. What you are doing right? You are just living this way. You'll never understand it. So you don't need to worry about it. We are just living this way. Right now, it is to live boldly and justly as condition. In another word, whatever thinking has come out in our mind, simply just let it go as it is. You don't need to worry. You don't need to worry about anything. Our activity is nothing concerned with thinking. So you don't need to worry about anything. Simply just let it go. The thinking so as it is. The more you do, the more you do this way of living, the more your way of living is comfortable without any trouble. But you have to do it at the beginning. Otherwise, you never will understand. You see, this reality, even in concept. Very, very important things. It is to live. It is to live boldly and justly as a condition. Million words are no better than one practice. See? That's the reason we have to do that. We have to do this living, this living. See? Then you might be able to confidence. Our our daily activity. See, our daily activity, the way of living. Our way of living is nothing concerned with thinking. See? It's very great. Without doing anything. In other words, without self, we are simply just we are simply acting. It's so great. But people never understand it. We are just we are just living. We are just acting this way without self. See, without self is a universal universal activity. See, that's the reason. See, we don't need to worry. We don't need to worry about anything. See, this one is another human body. This one is the Dharma body. this Dharma body is so tremendous. much bigger than universe. In this one, much bigger than universe. Yeah? Because even the universe, what you think about the universe, just come out on this body, on this human body. Without this Dharma body, what you think about the universe never exists. Yeah? Never existed. This one is that much huge, tremendous. So you don't need to worry about anything more. Even you just understand this reality, see? In concept or thinking, it doesn't mean anything. Once you just become one. But Garrison, you don't need to become one with Garrison. No, that's not. So once you just become one with everything, see, as it is, then you will be accept this reality. Oh, that's the thing. So, it shall come the realization. Oh, so great. Right. That is just that. Right. Thank you so much. Right. Muchas gracias. And